Muse for you, awesome websites without code.
Hey, what's up, Muser, and welcome to day 6 of building a chef website in Adobe Muse. Today we're going to be adding section 3 to the website. So here in the course folder we have day 6, section 3. So I'll go ahead and double click, and here we have the assets for today. I'll go back. We have the chef website section 3 Muse for You PDF. We have the day 6 section 3 PNG, the completed section for today, and the section text. So I'll go ahead and open the PNG. And here for day 6, we're going to create the section 3 layer and add the section 3 elements. So I'll go back to the root folder of the course, and the first thing I want to do here is click on chef website starting file.muse. So here I'll double click, and then I'll double click on the home page. So the first thing we're going to do, just like we've done on every other day, is create the layer for section 3. So here to the right, we're going to go to the layers panel. So click on the layers panel. So this is what the layers panel looks like right now. So we have header, section 1, section 2, and footer. So to create a new layer, we're going to click on this icon right down here where it says new layer, and it looks like a piece of paper with a folded corner. So we'll click there, and then it creates a layer called layer 5. I'll double click, and then we have the layer options, and here I'll rename it to section 3. So the color for this section is going to be orange. So here I'll click OK, and then this is what the layers panel looks like now. So we have header, section 1, section 2, and section 3. And you don't want it to look like this, so section 3 between section 1 and section 2, or even up here. You want to make sure that section 3 is below section 2, and you can do that by clicking, holding, and dragging the layer below section 2. Alright, so this is the layers, and one thing we can do to make sure that we don't move any elements on the other layers is that right next to the eye here that says toggles visibility, you want to click right next to it, and then we have this lock symbol, and this means that we can't edit any elements on these layers. So we'll just be working with layer 3, and if we need to unlock layers, we can just click on that lock symbol to unlock it. But for now, we don't really want to work with section 1 or section 2, so we'll just click on section 3, and any elements we add will be added to section 3. Okay, so now that we've gone over the layers panel, let's start adding the elements. So I'll scroll down here, and I'll go ahead and open the PDF just so we know what this section looks like. So I'll go into day 6, and I'll open the PDF file, and I'll scroll down. And here we have the section 3 comments. So this section is titled Recipes. This is the title for this section. And the first thing we're going to do for this section is add this background here. This kind of, this background with, food at the bottom, and it kind of looks like it has more texture to it. So to do that, let's go back into Muse, and let's select the rectangle tool. So I'll select the rectangle tool. I'll create a rectangle. And we can see that the border is orange because we're on layer 3. I'll go to the transform panel, and here the first thing I'm going to do in the resize option is say stretch to browser width, and then for the Y I'm going to say 3001, and the width is 1600 and the height is 1000. Alright, I'll hit enter, and there we have the rectangle. Now I want to go to the fill option, so I'll go here in the upper control bar, click on fill, click on add image, and here I have the assets for the day. If you don't have this folder initially, you just want to kind of navigate to the day 6 section 3 folder, click on assets, and then the image we're going to be using is section 3 background.jpg. So I'll go ahead and double click, and then for the fitting I'll say scale to fill and position it in the center. So this is the fitting, scale to fill, position in the center. Now you'll notice we have these white kind of elements over the background, and that's because the salad image here and the entree image are going over this background. So let's go into the layers panel and unlock section 2, and let's adjust these images a bit. So here I'm going to go to the crop tool right up here. It's below the selection tool. Click on the image and just drag up till it's flush with the top of the background image. So I'm just clicking, holding, and dragging with the crop tool, and now those images are not overlapping the background. So just a quick edit, so these images are actually shorter in height because we saw that it was overlapping this background. Alright, so we've added the background. Now let's add the recipes gradient text. So to do that, I'm going to go to the library panel, and I'm going to type in advanced gradients, and we're going to use, or actually it's gradient text. So we're going to use the gradient text widget. So here I'm going to click, hold, and drag, place into Adobe Muse, and let's style this widget. So I'm going to click on the blue circle with the arrow to bring up the widget options, and then we'll work with the widget options here. So the instance number for this is 3. So 3. The paragraph tag is an H2 subhead. The text is recipes. The font size is 2.81. The font weight is none. Letter spacing is 1. The line height is 1. The text transform is none, and the alignment is in the center. So there we have it in the center. And then let's select the gradient. So I'll open the gradient section. The gradient angle is 0. The color is this pink color for the color 1, and color 2 is this peach color. So let me select it here. We have this peach color for color 1, and for the IE fallback, I'll just select black just to make sure it's really visible on browsers that don't support gradient text, which are Internet Explorer browsers. Alright, so there we have the gradient text, and then let's format it a bit. So for the font, we'll select the widget, then we'll go to the text. The text is Roboto Light. So here I'll select Roboto Light, and that's all we have to do there. It changes it to Roboto Light, and kind of adjusted the height of this background here, so the height should be 1000 and not 1002. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, the background was just, when I added or changed the font type, it added more height to the background. So you just want to be aware of that. If little things are changing, just make sure that the settings are correct within the transform panel. Okay, so now we've selected recipes. So yeah, let's go back to the transform panel. And for the X, it's at 764. The Y is at, let's see, the Y is 3110, so 3110. And the width is 200, and the height is 52. Perfect. And the responsive pinning is set to the center. And it looks a bit off, so what we're going to do is just select the widget, go to the alignment panel right up here, and we're going to make sure it's aligned to content area and align in the center. Align horizontal centers, just to make sure it's aligned. So now the X value should actually be at 700. So this will be a quick edit, and just make it right here. Okay, so it's 700, and it should say 700 on your comments sheet when you're looking at it. All right, so there we have the recipes text, the gradient text. Now let's add the recipes underlined. So for this, I'm just going to select the rectangle tool and just create a rectangle right underneath recipes. It can be, just fairly small, but we're going to adjust it within the transform panel. So then I'll go back to the transform panel, and the X is 764, which might need to be adjusted as well. The Y is 3166. The width is 72, and the height is 2. And we're going to pin it to the center, and the resize option is set to none. Looks good. And let's see if we set the resize option to none here for the gradient text. So the gradient text is also set to none for the resize option. And let's see, the underline is here. Okay, so with the underline selected, let's go to the fill option, and we're going to use the built-in gradient option in Adobe Muse. For the color 1, we're going to set this kind of pink color, and for color 2, this kind of peach color. Focal point 50%, direction horizontal, and size automatic. Looks good. All right, so now we have this nice gradient underneath recipes. Perfect. And this one, actually, the alignment is correct. So the X value is at 764 for the underline. All right, so let's go to the PDF and see how we're doing. So here's the PDF. Now, for this section, I'm just going to create one of these panels, and then we're going to copy and paste 2 and 3 because we don't need to kind of repeat the process for 2 and 3. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We're going to do the avocado sandwich here. So let me go back into Muse, and we're now going to create the gradient background rectangle. So to do that, I'm going to select the rectangle tool right up here and just create any rectangle. It doesn't matter what size it is. And then I'll go to the transform. The X is at 235, and this is the gradient background rectangle in the comments. The Y is at 3238, and let me just go to the next page here. And the width is 330, and the height is 100. All right, the pinning is set to the center, and the resize is set to none. Okay, so there we have this rectangle. And now let's go to the fill option right up here. So to the fill, we're going to select gradient. For color 1, we're going to select the pink color. Color 2 is this peach color. And the focal point 50%, direction horizontal, and the size automatic. Perfect. All right, so there we have that nice gradient rectangle, just like that. And in the PDF, we notice we have that gradient rectangle in the background. So now let's add the next one, which is let me find it here, the avocado sandwich rectangle. So we're going to add this rectangle here with this image. So let's go back into Muse. Let's select the rectangle tool, create any rectangle, and let's go to the transform option here. And the Y is 215, or the X is 215. The Y is 3258. The width is 370, and the height is 614. Pin to page is set to center, the responsive pinning, the resize set to none. And then the fill color for this rectangle is white. All right, so we go to the fill and select white for the color. All right, perfect. Now we're going to go back into the fill. So click on the fill text to bring up the panel, and we're going to select add image. And for this one, we're going to add the avocado sandwich JPEG image. So double click on avocado sandwich. And then for the fitting, it's going to stay at original size, and the position is going to be top center. So we have these 9 buttons here, and you want to make sure that the top center button is selected. All right, and just like that, we have the image with the avocado sandwich in there. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is add the recipe title. So if I go back into the PDF, we have the avocado sandwich title, and we have the paragraph here. So let's go back into Muse. I'll go into the text tool, I'll select the text tool, and I'll just create a text box here. And then for this, I'll call it, let's see, what is it in the, yeah, it's avocado sandwich. And I don't have to capitalize, I think it's all capitalized. Yep, it is, okay. So I'll just highlight the text here. Let me zoom in a bit. So we have avocado sandwich, and then let's go into the formatting. So I'll go into the text panel here to the left, and the text is Roboto slab. There's the text. The size is 14. The color is 2A, 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 and I'll add it to the swatches. So I'll click OK. There we have the color, and it's aligned in the center. So I'll align it to the center, and the text transform is uppercase. All right, perfect. So now let's go to the transform panel. And the X is at 298. The Y is at, let's see, 3529 for the Y. The width is 204, and the height is 17. Responsive pinning in the center, and the resize set to none. All right, perfect. So there we have avocado sandwich. And now let's add the paragraph. So I'll select the text tool right up here. Just create another text box. And for this, I'll go into the Finder and double click on section text. And I want to highlight avocado sandwich right up here. And everything after avocado sandwich, and zoom out here. So then I'll just hit Command V to paste. And there we have the text. Okay, so for this one, the first word is styled a bit differently. Or actually, let me style all the text first. So I'll select all the text. I'll go to the text panel. And for this, it's Roboto slab. Just like that. The size is 14. And that looks good. So the first word, which is ingredients, we'll highlight that. And then the color for this, go to the text panel, and the color is 2A, 2A. And then I'll highlight the rest of the text, And the color for this is 6F, 6F, 6F. I'll add that to the swatches, click OK, perfect. All right, looks good. So now let's go to the transform panel. Let me make sure that that first word isn't capitalized. Nope, it looks good. So now I'll go to the transform, and on the X, it's at 237. The Y is at 3572. The width is 327, and the height is 68. Perfect. All right, so there we have the text, the title text, and the paragraph text. And let's see, we go back to the PDF. Now we have this text right here, the recipe price text. Let me just find that here. All right, so let's go back into Muse. I'll create another text box, selecting the text tool, and I'll just create a text box, and I'll just type in from, here the PDF from, or actually it might be in the section text. No, it isn't. Okay, so from 1050 / a day. Okay, I'll highlight this text, then I'll go to the text panel, and it's Roboto Slab for the text. The text font size, it's 30 for the larger text, and then we'll resize that first word that says from. The color is 2A, 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 and then that looks good there. Alignment is in the center. And then I'll go to the transform panel. On the X, it's at 298. The Y is at 3676, and the width is 204, and the height is 36. Doesn't let us do 36. Okay, that's fine. We just have to resize one of the texts in there, so we'll do that in a second. So the responsive pinning is in the center, and the resize set to none. All right, so there we have the text. We want to resize this text that says from, so we'll highlight it, just that text. We'll go into the text panel, and the text size for this is 18. And now it all fits nicely there. So from 1050 a day. So now if we go to the transform, the height is 36. Perfect. All right, and I'm just going off the comment sheet here, so if I'm moving a bit quickly, just know that I'm going through the comments here. And some of the comments, they're not in a particular order, so we're on the avocado recipe price text. Yeah, the avocado recipe price text. So we're just working with anything that says avocado. We're working with those elements. So let me go back into the PDF, and now let's create this buy now button. So I'll go into Muse, and for this, I'll select the rectangle tool right up here. I'll create a rectangle right underneath the price, and then I'll go to the transform option. The X is at 289. The Y is at 3744. The width is 222, and the height is 61. Okay, and then I'll go, it's pinned to the center, and the resize is set to none. And then I'll go to the fill color right up here. So the fill color is transparent, and the stroke width is 1, and the stroke color is, I'll select the drop down, the stroke color is B8, B8, B8. And I'll hit enter. I think we've already added that to the swatches panel, so I'm not going to go ahead and re-add it. Okay, and just like that, we have kind of a gray stroke down here. And now let's add the avocado buy now gradient text. So for this, I'll go to the library panel, and I'll type in gradient text, and I'll bring in the gradient text widget and just place it right in there. Perfect. And let's open the widget options. I'll close the library panel here, open the widget options, and let's work with the widget options here. So the instance number for this is 2. It's kind of in a reverse order, so the recipes could have been 2 and this could have been 3, but we'll just set it to 2 for now. The paragraph tag is an H2. No, there's no paragraph tag. It's just a paragraph. And the text is buy now, or we'll just do it on lowercase because we're going to set the text transform to uppercase. The font size is 1.1. Font weight is set to none. And text transform, we want it to be uppercase. And the line height, we're going to set it to 1.5. and the text align is in the center. Perfect. And the first color, let's see the gradient angle. Let me just go to the next page here. So the gradient angle is at 0. The first color is set to this pink color. The second color is set to this peach color there. All right, so there we have that. And now let's go to the transform panel. On the X, it's 350. 350. The Y is 3761. The width is 101. And the height is 27. It's pinned to the center, and the resize option is set to none. Okay, so there we have the buy now gradient text. Looks good. So let me just make sure. Yep, resize set to none. Okay, so we've done that. We've pinned it to the center as well, and everything is pinned to the center. We want to pin this to the center as well, this paragraph. So responsive pinning to the center, resize none. Okay, and the avocado text looks good and perfect. Looks good. So now we have those panels, and what I want to do now is I want to lock this background here so I can't move it. To lock, you can hold down Command L to lock an element, or you can go to Object, Lock, or you can go to the Layers panel here to the right, open Section 3, and then with that rectangle selected, just click next to this dot here where it says Toggle Visibility. Click there to lock that element so it doesn't move and you can't select it. So with that selected, I'm just going to highlight this element here. I'm going to hold down Command C to copy and then Command V to paste, and I'll just center this here. Perfect. And I'll paste one more time, and just like that, looks good. So I can even check with the comments. So if I select this white rectangle, the value on the X axis should be 615, which it is, and the height, the Y is 3258, which is the same as this one. So Adobe Muse gives you nice guides to let you know when something's in the center and when it's positioned relative to other elements. It has kind of blue lines letting you know, as guides letting you know if something is relative to another element. And then here we can position this because Adobe Muse lets us know that in between, we have that middle panel, and to the left we have 30 pixels and we have 30 pixels to the right. And this is the Indian rice rectangle. So the X value should be 1015 and the Y 3258. So there we have it, 1015, and the Y is 3258. Perfect. So now let's just change the text a bit. So this is going to be corn soup. So we can just go into Muse and just change the text. And this is going to be Indian rice. And then we can go into the text here. So for corn soup, I'll just select that. Go into the paragraph here and paste. And actually what I'll do here is I'll just paste everything after ingredients. Just like that. And it should stay this color here. So here I'll highlight it, go to the text transform, and I believe the text is 2A, or I think it's 6F, 6F. Yeah, 6F, 6F, okay. Then we'll go to Indian rice, we'll highlight this text, go into the text edit, I'll highlight everything after ingredients, copy, and just paste that in there. And then highlight this, go to the text transform, and this is 6F, 6F, 6F. Perfect. And then I'll go to the PDF. The prices are different, so we have 20, 2050, and 1530. So this one is 20, and let me undo that. So we might need to stretch out this text box a bit. And I'll change this to 20, and this one to 1530. Perfect. All right, and I believe that's it. So now we select each rectangle. So the second one, we'll select it, then we'll go to fill and image here, and for this we'll select corn soup. Okay, and then I'll select this rectangle here. I'll go to fill, image, and this one is Indian rice JPEG. All right, and just like that we have those three panels. Perfect. Looks good. So we're almost done with section 3. I know I'm moving a bit quickly, and again all these values are in the comment section. You can do a shortcut with what I just did. Just copy the first panel and paste it twice and reposition it, and then change all the elements within each rectangle. So the last thing we need to add is the shrimp image and the peas image. So in the PDF, we have this shrimp right up here, and we have these peas right down here. So I'll go ahead and add the shrimp. So to do that, we'll go to the Finder, and we'll go to Assets, the Day 3 Assets, or Day 6 Assets, Section 3, and here we have the shrimp.png. So here I'm going to click, hold, and drag, place into Adobe Muse, then go to the Transform panel, and then for the shrimp image, the X is at 1479, the Y is at 3280, the width is 121 by 182, responsive pinning is set to the right, and resize none. Okay, and perfect, just like that, the shrimp image is flushed to the right side of the browser. Looks good. Let me kind of zoom back in here, and let's add the peas image. So the peas, let's go back into the Finder, and we have the peas here. So I'll click, hold, and drag, place into Adobe Muse, go to the Transform panel, and the X is 0, the Y is 3874, the width is 2, let's see, so it's a bit larger, it's 267. I'm going to constrain proportions because with this I want the height to change with the width. So I'll say 267, and it's a bit larger there. So actually, let's leave the width to 215 by 339. I don't want to stretch out this image because when you stretch out an image, it kind of makes it look not so good. So let's do that again. Go into the Finder, click, hold, and drag the peas, and the X 0 and the Y is 3874. And the width and height, just leave as is. We'll pin it to the left, and the resize is none. So the responsive pinning is set to the left. Perfect. All right, and I'll just adjust these values so they'll be correct once you look at them on your comment sheet. The width will be 215 by 339. All right, perfect. So we're done with section 3. Again, I know I moved fairly quickly. Feel free to leave any questions in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer them. So let's look at the PDF. So we should have all the assets accounted for. So let me zoom out here in the PDF. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 assets for today. So if we go into the Finder, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So let's go ahead and preview in the browser. I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I'll go ahead and scroll down. There's section 1, or the header with the logo in the menu, section 1, section 2, and section 3. And if I resize the browser, we can see that shrimp stays to the right and that those peas stay to the left as well. And everything is pinned relative to the center. So as I resize the browser, those panels stay nicely centered within the browser. And if I make the browser full screen on a 27-inch iMac, those panels will still stay in the center. The shrimp will be on the right and the peas will be on the left. So one thing we might have noticed as we resize the browser, those shrimp kind of go over that panel. You can do that if that's the effect you're going for, or maybe you want the shrimp to go behind the panels. If that's the case, you can go to the Layers panel, and then for the shrimp and the peas, right up here, you can select both by holding down Shift. We just want to bring them all the way to the bottom, right above the last rectangle, which is the background rectangle. So now I'll preview, File, Preview Page in Browser, and I'll scroll down and I resize. You can see that shrimp goes behind the panels. There you go. It kind of looked okay with it going over the panels. It was an interesting effect, but you can have it go below the panels by changing the order within the Layers panel. So just a quick recap, we added the panels here. We added the gradient text. Let me zoom in a bit. We added the gradient text for recipes and the underline. We added the peas and the shrimp. And the first thing we did was add the background here. And the Layers panel should look like this. We have header, section 1, section 2, and section 3. And this lock symbol is just to lock the layer, so we're not working with those layers as we're building the website. Yeah, so header, section 1, section 2, section 3, and footer. So tomorrow we'll be moving on to day 7, section 4.
Muse for you, awesome websites without code.